Sister's husband passed away unexpectedly, but I missed the funeral because I had to walk my dogs and now. Lila's phone buzzed on the counter. Mara's name flashing like a warning siren. She ignored it, leash in hand, her two golden retrievers whining at the door. Who misses a funeral for dogs? Apparently, she did. It was a crisp Tuesday morning when Lila got the call. Mara's voice was a shattered thing, barely holding together as she said, "Tom's gone. Heart attack. Last night." Lila froze, the weight of her sister's words sinking into her chest like a stone. Tom, the guy who'd been family for a decade, who grilled burgers at every summer barbecue, who laughed too loud and loved Mara fiercely. He was gone, just like that. The funeral was set for Saturday, and Mara begged her to be there. "You're all I have left," she'd said, her voice raw. Lila promised she would. But life, as Lila knew, had a way of tangling promises. She wasn't heartless. She loved Mara. Loved Tom too, in her own way. But her dogs, Max and Bella, were her lifeline. Rescues with anxious hearts. They'd been abandoned before, and Lila swore she'd never let them feel that again. They needed their routine, 2 walks a day, no exceptions. Saturday morning rolled around, and Lila's alarm blared at 6 a.m. The funeral was at 10 an hour's drive away. Plenty of time, she thought. Grabbing the leashes, she'd walk the dogs, shower, and go. Simple. Except it wasn't. Max, the goofier of the two, bolted after a squirrel, yanking the leash and dragging Lila through a muddy park trail. By the time she got him under control, her jeans were filthy, and Bella was barking like the world was ending. A quick glance at her phone showed 8:30 Her stomach twisted. She was cutting it close. Back home, she scrubbed mud off her shoes, fed the dogs, and lost track of time. The clock read 9:45 when she finally looked up. Panic hit. She texted Mara. "Running late. Be there soon." No response. The drive was a blur of guilt and excuses. She'd make it for the eulogy, she told herself, but traffic was merciless, and by the time she pulled into the church parking lot, it was 11:15. The lot was nearly empty. She slipped inside, heart pounding, only to find the pews deserted, the air heavy with the scent of lilies and grief. A janitor was sweeping the aisle. "Service just ended," he said, not unkindly. Lila's knees buckled. She'd missed it. All of it. She drove to Mara's house, rehearsing apologies. Mara would understand. Right, she always had. They were sisters, bound by years of shared secrets and late-night talks. But when Mara opened the door, her face was a storm. "Where were you?" she asked, her voice low. "Dangerous," Lila stammered. "The dogs. Max got loose, and I lost track of time." Mara's eyes widened, disbelief carving lines into her face. "You missed Tom's funeral for your dogs." The words weren't a question, they were an accusation. Lila tried to explain. She talked about Max's anxiety, Bella's separation issues, how she couldn't just leave them. But every word sounded flimsier than the last. Mara's hands shook as she pointed to the door. "Get out," she said, her voice breaking. "You chose them over me. Over him." Lila stood there, stunned, as the door slammed shut. The sound echoed in her chest like a gunshot. The days that followed were a fog of regret. Lila kept calling, texting, leaving voicemails that went unanswered. She sent flowers, a card with a heartfelt note, but Mara's silence was deafening. Lila's friends tried to console her. "You didn't mean it," they said. "She'll come around." But Lila wasn't so sure. She'd seen the look in Mara's eyes hurt so deep it might never heal. She started questioning herself. Was she selfish? Had she always been this way, hiding behind her dogs to avoid the messiness of human connection? The tension built like a slow-burning fire. Lila's guilt gnawed at her, but so did a flicker of resentment. Mara knew how much Max and Bella meant to her. Why couldn't she understand the sisters had always balanced each other? Mara, the responsible one. Lila, the free spirit. But this wasn't about quirky differences anymore. It was about loyalty, about showing up when it mattered most, and Lila hadn't. A week later, Lila showed up at Mara's house unannounced, determined to fix things. She found Mara in the backyard, surrounded by Tom's things, his fishing gear, his old flannel shirts, a half-finished birdhouse he'd been building. Mara was sorting through them, her face pale, eyes red. Lila's heart sank. "Mara, I'm so sorry," she said, stepping closer. Mara didn't look up. "Sorry doesn't bring him back," she said flatly. "And it doesn't make you being there for me instead of your dogs." The air crackled with tension. Lila's voice rose, defensive. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I was trying to take care of them. They're my responsibility too." Mara spun around, her eyes blazing. "Responsibility? You think I don't know about that? I buried my husband alone. Lila, alone." Her voice broke, and she threw the birdhouse to the ground. It splintered, the sound sharp and final. Lila flinched, tears stinging her eyes. "I messed up," she whispered. "I know I did." Mara's anger didn't fade, but her shoulders slumped, exhaustion overtaking her. "You weren't there," she said, softer now, the fight draining out of her. "I needed you, and you weren't there." Lila wanted to argue, to justify herself, but the truth was undeniable. She'd made a choice, and it had cost her something irreplaceable. The sisters stood in silence, the wreckage of Tom's belongings between them, a physical reminder of the life that was gone and the bond that might never recover. Lila left that day with a hollow ache in her chest. She walked Max and Bella, but the routine felt empty now. She kept replaying Mara's words. The image of that broken birdhouse burned into her mind. She started volunteering at a local shelter, channeling her love for animals into something bigger, hoping it might somehow make amends. But the rift with Mara didn't heal. Not yet. Weeks turned into months. Lila heard through a mutual friend that Mara had started therapy, that she was trying to piece her life back together. Lila wanted to reach out, but every time she picked up her phone, fear stopped her. What if Mara never forgave her? What if this was the end of them? She wrote letters she never sent, each one an attempt to explain the unexplainable. She wasn't a bad person, she told herself, but good intentions didn't erase consequences. One evening, Lila sat on her porch. Max and Bella curled up at her feet. She stared at the stars, thinking of Tom, of Mara, of the choices that define us. She'd always seen herself as the caring one, the one who saved strays and gave them a home. But maybe caring for others meant showing up for the people who needed her most, not just the ones who barked for her attention. The story doesn't end with a neat resolution. Mara and Lila's relationship hangs in the balance, fragile and uncertain. Lila's learning, slowly, that love isn't just about what feels right in the moment. It's about sacrifice, about being there when it's hard. She hopes one day Mara will answer her calls, that they can rebuild what was broken. But for now, she carries the weight of her choice, a reminder that even small decisions can leave lasting scars. What do you think? Was Lila's choice to prioritize her dogs justifiable? Or did she fail her sister when it mattered most? Share your thoughts. There's no right or wrong, just the messy truth of being human. End.